I'll start off today by showing an issue. When we are crouching, we don't actually crouch. That happens when we go underneath this block that we made before. Basically, when we're crouching, we should be able to go underneath this, but we can't. Look, so I'm just crouching right now and my height is really low. I should be able to go underneath this, but I can't because the collider's height is never changed. Character controller is the same height, the height and the center is same. So we can modify these using a script, our script, the player controller one, by modifying the center to 0.6 and the height to 1. So now you can see 1.2 and 0.6 are nice values, and you can see I can actually crawl underneath. Move underneath this ledge sort of a thing. So let's continue and make this possible for our player to do it on its own, because we won't have the inspector in a build and we don't want the player to manually anyway do it. So let's actually start by making some variables. Serialized field, private float, and this is going to be our crouch height. And right now, as we're doing the test, we found that the crouch height is 1.2. Then we can make another one with the private float, and this time this is for our crouch center. So the crouch center Y. And during our testing, we got 0.6 was the best, so 0.6. And another final one, serialized field, private float, and this is going to be the crouch to stand check, because we're going to actually check from our player the distance, basically 2, because 2 is our height and the height of our player. We're going to check 2 unity meters above, and if there's anything, then we won't actually allow him to stand. So to do that, we're going to use our code. For now, we have made this variable. We're going to do this all in our player movement region in the method named handle speed. So we're going to command RR and rename this one to handle speeds and player height. Oops, command RR, and just make that bigger. So when we are sprinting, our player stands up, so we need to prevent that from happening by checking if we are basically the raycast needs to fail, then we will only allow him to change the is sprinting boolean. So if the raycast fails, so the raycast will check from our player's position straight up, and it's going to check at the max distance to the crouch to stand distance, which is the height of the player, and it will only check ground layer mask, so it won't check any other objects. The ground layer mask is basically all the objects except for players and other stuff. So we're just going to check for that in both of these if statements, and the raycast must fail, then only we'll go, because if it fails, then only we should allow him to stand up or start sprinting. So now we have to modify the player height and center position using the is crouching variable and whatever it's currently. So we're gonna have an if with is crouching, and inside we're gonna add an else statement as well. So in the if, we are going to write character controller dot height, so we can get the height, I think, yeah. So height is here, and we will simply put it at our crouch height, and then our character controller dot center can equals a new vector 3. This vector 3, we can just add zeros everywhere, and in the center we're going to put our center variable. So in center, we'll simply put the crouch center Y, floats. And then we'll copy these two together and put them in this else. Now we need two more variables, which are going to be for the standing height and the standing center y. So we're just going to copy these two and paste these and rename this one the standing height. So standing height, so standing height, and this is just going to be standing center y. We can change the values, so the standing height would be 2, the height of our player, and the standing center y would be 1, so the center of the player is at the 1. The character controllers 1 center, so whatever that is. Anyway, we have them both here in the inspector visible. Now let's just minimize this region and back into the handle speeds method, where we have the if. So if we are crouching, else if we are not, we simply set the character controller height to the standing height and character controller center to a new vector 3 with 0, standing center y, 0f. That's it. Now we can test this out. All the values are already correct. Just press the play button and I can move here, and then when I'm right near this thing, of course we prevent it. And then if I go underneath and if I keep clicking C, I cannot stand. It just won't let me change the variable if something's above. I can't sprint underneath, and as soon as I'm out of that region, I can again stand up. So that's something good. So we're preventing our player from going above that, like if I would allow him, he would literally get stuck in the other mesh, and that would not look good. So this physics raycast is actually checking, and because it's not failing this time and it's found something, this is not becoming true right now, because we check up till 2. If we actually, let me just select this, select the play object, let's just have a view from the side. You can see the collider has become small. You can rotate, and there you are. So we can jump, which is not good. We should not be able to jump. It should not allow us to jump, because you can see how my player's camera is just clipping through. So to stop allowing jumping, we can add in the private void jump, we just have to add the same physics.raycast, the same not physics.raycast statement. So we simply select it from here till there, copy it, and then make paste, and just add that and statement. So and this must fail, then only we will go and allow him to jump. So if we hit the play button again, you can see I can go here. I can jump right now, which is okay. If I sit, I will crouch, and now if I try to jump, I can't. So I'm currently pressing my space bar, and I can sprint only when I'm out of that region where the player's height is no longer, he can no longer stand, so which means we don't allow him to even sprint, no jumping, and no standing. So that's it really for this video. This was part, I think, 24. Yes, it's part 24. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.